Hey guys, okay, so I'm gonna be talking about my experience living in Saudi Arabia. I lived in Saudi Arabia from 1992 to 2003, and I wanna talk about the pros and cons and what I liked and what I didn't like about it and my experiences. Okay, so in 1992, my dad got a job working for an oil company. I'm not gonna say specifics, but I'm gonna tell you what I can. So, for an oil company. And about 6 months later, me and my mom moved over there. The first place we moved was a town called, well, a city called Jeddah. Jeddah. If I'm spelling some things wrong, I apologize. But anyway, it's been quite a number of years since I've lived there. That was in 1992. I was 3 years old at that point, from 92 to 94. And I grew up there. I didn't go to school or anything. But yeah, it was just like an American compound. It was just a compound, kind of like a mini gated community. Then my dad worked for another oil company in the late 90s. I moved back to the States with my mom from 94 to 96. And then 96 we moved to a different compound in a city called Dammam, which is a smaller city that's part of or next to the city Dhahran. So in Dammam, we lived in another compound, gated compound. And basically, what you see, and I haven't lived there in 13 years, so I don't know what has changed, what hasn't, but it is very Americanized to the point that there are, fast food restaurants, there are American stores there. There's a Zara, there's Hugo Boss, there are high-end stores, there's McDonald's, KFC, Baskin Robbins, that's all there. You have satellite TV, you have European TV, American TV. When you're living in a compound, you are protected and safe. When you leave the compound, it's more like at your own risk. Obviously, women can't drive in Saudi Arabia. So for my mom, it was really hard, to go from living in America where you can drive to in Saudi Arabia where you cannot drive outside the camp or the compound. I went to an international school and, I was bullied and picked on for years. Although I think I would have been bullied and picked on anywhere I went because of who I am. But yeah, it was a tough time for me. I was lonely. There weren't a lot of kids who wanted to hang out with me back then. But it's my childhood, it is something that I will always cherish and remember. So from 96 to 90, I would say the whole year of 96, we lived in Dammam. Then I moved back to America from, I would say 97 to 98, and then we moved to another place near Dammam, back from America. So basically we moved back to America for a year, moved back to Arabia. In 98, my dad worked for another place right nearby in a city called Dhahran, and in a huge camp. You might know what it is, I'm not gonna say it, but it's a huge oil company and a huge camp in Dhahran. If you're from there or know the area, you probably know what I'm talking about. British people, Australians, Canadians. At the time, Jewish people weren't allowed. I know, it's crazy, but Jewish people weren't allowed. I don't know if they are now, but I don't know. At the time, they were not. Women could drive in the camp, and this camp was huge. It was like a huge city, but all like walled off. Like a gated residential area with like a supermarket, a dining hall, restaurants, free like highways, just like a huge, kind of like Orange County, like in the Orange County, like Real Housewives of Orange County, like when the gates close in the intro of the cast member intro, like it's sort of like that, except way bigger, like the size of a huge city in America. So yeah, and I traveled to cities like Ras Tanura, Bahrain, and then we lived there from 98 to 2003. But of course, the Iraq War happened in 2003 and it wasn't safe for Americans to be there anymore. So me and my mom left and my dad retired a year later in 2004 and we moved back to Houston for good. The rest is history. We made good money living and working there, and it was good and it was fun, and we made friends, and I had ups and downs, and I have memories that I'll always cherish. The pros, obviously, if you're American working in Arabia, you can make good money there. In the camp, it's safe. There are customs you need to, deal with. They have prayer calls 5 times a day, and this is the one thing that was very interesting. So they have a prayer call in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning. Then they have a prayer call, I would say around noon, in the afternoon, evening, and at night. If I'm wrong about the exact times, I apologize, but this is just from what I remember. And basically around this town, you hear a prayer call in Arabic pretty loudly, like in speakers around the whole town. And everybody takes a break from work, the shops close, everything shuts down in the whole city, outside the camp, I believe, 5 times a day. And everyone shuts down their shops, everybody shuts down and goes to pray, then comes back. So that's very different than America. Shops, restaurants, life does not shut down 5 times a day to go pray in America. So that was very different. Women are encouraged to cover themselves up, you know, to at least wear long sleeves. Well, definitely long sleeves outside the camp, for sure, and to cover your legs and cover your sleeves. It's your choice if you want to cover your hair with a scarf. Yeah, and there were people called mutawas who sometimes would reinforce this, like if a woman maybe was showing too much skin, she would say, oh, can you please cover up? And sometimes if the woman didn't, well, there would be consequences. So anyway, so there were some things that weren't exactly there were a lot of things you had to get used to, let's put it that way. Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good experience. Yeah, would I ever go back? No, but it was definitely a fun experience that I would share with you guys. Okay, well, that is my experience on American living in Saudi Arabia. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to my channel, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.